temperatures are always rising during a time such as this. You have a lot of politicians talking at each other as opposed to talking to each other. And this is why you have Zambia Centre for Interparty Dialogue. Our role is to try and to provide a platform where political parties can dialogue. So we are hoping that we can organize such a platform just before elections so that the political parties can dialogue on many things. I know a lot of people have said Zambia Centre for Interparty Dialogue, why haven't you done this bringing together all political parties? But you know it's a process, Andrew, because you have to have an agenda that you're going to discuss. We've had in the last maybe almost 1 year engagements with all the political party presidents. We have a few with whom we have not yet engaged, and we had a roadmap. And that roadmap had issues like the constitution review, delimitation, electoral reforms, all these things that came up earlier in the bill that has been passed. That was our roadmap engagement. And we have, at that time when we engaged the political party presidents, the positions that they held. Many of them, of course, told us that they didn't think it was the right time to have the constitution review, but that is water under the bridge now because it has been passed.
Last week, the Commission did meet with various political parties to discuss the roadmap to the elections.
Yes.
There's so many issues that came out of that particular consultative meeting. Part of what's buzzing now everywhere is the fact that the current opposition is not serious, based off the representation of political party presidents that were present in that consultative meeting. How would you make of the outcomes of that consultative meeting?
You know, Andrew, it saddened me because I was in that meeting. And a lot of good things, a lot of discussions, a lot of issues were raised by party presidents. And then we had the little drama that you saw. I don't want to disown anybody. They are all our members. But I think there is one that has been trading with, you know, that noise. That could have been an icebreaker because even when he introduced himself, you heard what he said. He was not the political party president. I think we have to look at the party presidents, those ones who came with serious issues to engage ECZ, and were not even shown. You know what overshadowed that good meeting was that few glitches that we saw. So for me, I think it was a good meeting because I was there. A lot of issues were raised, nomination fees. The Electoral Commission of Zambia gave us a roadmap, what we need to do. You know, there were also even issues such as the presidential candidates' residency issue, which I think the Electoral Commission of Zambia have since said they were going to consult the Attorney General. A lot of our members raised the issue of nomination fees. And I think at that time, because they were looking at fees being increased. So what the Commission said is that they were going to review. And you know, in the past, this issue has been raised even in 2021. And after the stakeholders meetings, that issue is resolved and the Commission re-looks at that. And that is what we are hoping will be done in 2026.
Was this meeting really consultative, or it was the Electoral Commission of Zambia coming to inform you on what their plans are?
Well, it was, I could say, consultative because, like I said, some of the issues that were raised, the Commission responded by saying they will get back to us. So, of course, as the Commission is in charge of the elections, they needed to come and brief all the political parties what the roadmap is, what the engagement that they need to have all the requirements, the qualifications by ECZ, you know, the qualifications that the political party, aspiring presidents and even members of parliament and even at local level, what they need to have. So it was, in a way, informative, but as well as getting a feedback from the stakeholders. So I would say it covered both.
It covered both.
Yes.
It's almost predictable that you political players really have no trust in the commission. You raise alarm, especially as we go to the elections, that the elections, you know, will not be free and fair. The elections have already been rigged in favor of the ruling party. From your perspective as the Zambia Centre for Interparty Dialogue, where we stand today, would you agree that the electoral process leading into the elections on the 13th has been transparent, has been fair, and has been all-inclusive?
Well, from my personal opinion, before I bring the ZCID perspective, I think for me, I find it very, very interesting that every time there's an election, there is the talk of rigging. And yet, if you look, Andrew, we've had change of government. So if it is rigged in 2021, we wouldn't have had UPND come. In 2011, we wouldn't have had PF. So obviously, it's the transparency aspect of it. And I think we should go back to how the Electoral Commission of Zambia is appointed. I think maybe if the political players look at it as a transparent process where it is not the president appointing or nominating, perhaps that issue will be a thing of the past. So it is just, you know, it is not from the point of view of ZCID. These are some of the things that we need to discuss in that dialogue process. I think if we had dialogue, these things would be a thing of the past. And in fact, even when we are talking about rigging and political parties, how they are deregistered and registered, this is why, as ZCID, we have been pushing for political parties bill. Because we believe that will cure that mischief of the allegations and the suspicions that the government is doing something. Because you will have an autonomous, or should I say independent organization that is going to register and regulate political parties.
And regulate political parties.
Yes, but fortunately, I think you must have heard that the Constitution Court did say that this bill should be enacted in 12 months. So I think all these allegations and the so-called what they are talking about, Mingalato, or the allegations that the ruling party is now doing something to deregister and all that, these are issues that can be discussed. And those are the issues also that were raised in that meeting.
Are you concerned as the centre with regards to how now almost every opposition political party has a faction of its leaders? The main opposition political party in the country at the moment, the Patriotic Front, is in tatters because it has more than 2 presidents that call themselves president and legitimate presidents you know, of the party. The NDC, I could mention, you know, so many political parties here. Is the centre concerned really that this is happening in the political space?
Definitely, because we are looking at political parties who are in the opposition as governments in waiting. Now, if there is internal strife within those political parties.
And the allegation is that this internal strife has been brewed by or sponsored by the ruling party.
This is what I was raising to say, once we have the political parties bill, this issue of saying there's interference will be a thing of the past. It is very sad because I will tell you, one of the reasons why we have not yet gotten to the Summit of Presidents, which is one of the highest structure in ZCID, is because we have not been able to engage like the Patriotic Front, which has, of course, a large number of members of parliament. So it is concerning, and we are hoping that this, through dialogue, these things can be done. We know that within the constitutions, the party constitutions, if they are not followed, there are people who find loopholes, and then we'll say we have not followed the constitution, therefore I take over the party. You saw what happened in Patriotic Front. There was supposed to have been elections, they weren't being held. So when you delay the processes that you yourselves have put in place as a constitution in your party, these are some of the outcomes. You also saw, it wasn't just PF. Recently, we saw somebody in UPND claiming to be, a president, and that the president had not gone to seek his mandate. And not so long ago, we were here witnessing the assembly where there was the process, the internal democratic process that produced the presidential candidate and also the national management committees. So for us as ZCID, we want to appeal to all political parties to say this issue of you not following your constitutions, your party constitutions, is a problem because it's a compliance issue.
Yeah. The long-awaited delimitation report was released last week.
Yes.
With 70 new constituencies spread across 68 districts of our country. What does the Centre make of the outcome of this report?
You know, like I said, Andrew, delimitation was on our engagement roadmap when we were engaging the president. So for us, we believe that there was a fair distribution, except, you know, when the process is not open. Obviously, not everybody, they talk about democracy, that everybody speaks and nothing gets done in democracy. So there needs to be a leadership in some of these things. So I am saying, now it's water under the bridge. Let the political parties look at what is there on the ground, the new constituencies. And for ZCID, and for me personally, as a woman, I would encourage all political parties to adopt many more women in those constituencies. Because we have been talking for a long time, even through ZCID, about the increase of marginalized people, women, youth, persons with disability. We have an opportunity in those constituencies. Of course, in addition to that, we have the proportional representation, the mixed member, which will add new members at the
so you have no issues with the 70 new constituencies and how they were spread. Eastern Province and Southern Province have the highest constituencies that have been allocated to them. You're not concerned?
Well, you know, we as speaking as a Secretary General of the party, I'm saying perhaps if people knew how the criteria, because people were crying to say we want to know what the criteria is. And we had an engagement meeting with ECZ. They explained when we had the announcements. I think, you know, in any process, not everybody is going to be happy. But once it has been done, it's water under the bridge. Let's run with it.
You are given a right to petition if not happy with the report.
So let those who are unhappy.
But is the Centre
The
happy?
Centre is, you see, the Centre is an umbrella institution. Political parties have their spokespersons, they have their secretary generals. We are not spokespersons for political parties.
But what are sentiments of political parties in regards to this report?
I am sure you've heard on the radios and all that. They were saying how did it before, but right now I think everybody now is saying, well, it's done. Let's get on with it. And I think that's the only way they can try to take advantage and benefit from those. I don't know. Obviously, those provinces which had more constituencies are very happy. I'm sure Lusaka would have wanted more, but we don't know the criteria that was really used. If you are not happy, you take it on. But the center does not do that. We are not a spokesperson for political parties. We are an umbrella organization, and political parties are our members. So we encourage all the political parties to speak, because you know, if you have to gain consensus in an institution like ZCID, we speak after we have debated and we have come up with a consensus.
The reason for why I asked that question was because in the build-up to us amending this constitution, there were a lot of squabbles.
Yes.
Consensus wasn't reached, especially from the side of opposition political party players. Political party players were not happy with how the process to amending our constitution was done. And one of the biggest issues that they raised was delimitation.
Yes.
And initially the allegations that came about were that the ruling party, there was gerrymandering. The ruling party wants to create new constituencies in areas where they are strong. And I ask from that context, that from the report that we have today, do you see the fears that political players had, or perhaps the fears are gone because of how well the report was done?
I can't speak on behalf of political parties, individual political parties, but I see that there are others who have welcomed, and there are others, of course, who are not happy. Like I said, in any process, you are never going to get 100% unless you are in charge. Otherwise, you are always going to start accusing people that this is what has happened. And like I said when I started, that, for me, I am looking at this rigging and all that we have since had government changes. We have last year, the last elections, we had a new administration. In 2011, we had a new administration. In 1991, we had. So obviously, something is happening, because for me, I look at the actual players are the voters. You can play around with everything so people speak, but ultimate, it is the voters that are going to give the outcome.
You earlier mentioned of the fact that part of some of the constitutional changes we're going in this election is a mixed member proportional representation that brings about 40 new vulnerable groups, 20 women, 15 youth, and 5 persons with disabilities. Are you happy with how the quota system has been spread in terms of the vulnerable groups? Nobody
can be completely happy. It's a step in the right direction. We have to start somewhere, because at least it gives the political parties, through that party list, some members that they are going to nominate to be on that list. But what is comforting me also is that even those who come on the party list, they must meet the qualifications and the criteria that has been. So it's not just picking any woman, it's picking a woman who would be able to go out there in parliament and represent the people, and also go out there who knows the role and is able to legislate. We are not just picking because it's a woman, no. We have to pick women that can go out there and speak and legislate. We are picking youths that are going out there who would qualify normally, but maybe don't have the resources. And the party, the good thing is that these ones on the nomination in that PR system, the party is the one that is going to campaign, and it's linked to the president's vote.
How aware are your members, the political players, ahead of these elections in terms of these new constitutional changes?
Yeah.
Are they aware of what is expected of them as we go to these elections? Because with, like you rightly mentioned, the quota system, the mixed member proportional representation is not only at parliament level, but also at local government.
At local government level, yes.
How well abreast are political players with this information? Are they armed in this election?
You know, Andrew, last week we had a training for political parties, and we did say that this type of training, where we were also discussing that issue, should be, you know, done earlier. So immediately after the constitution review, obviously political parties, if you are a secretary general, you have to get interested so that you can at least, you know, disseminate that information. Also at ZCID level, we have also agreed that we must gather the political parties so that we can put them all together, and we have someone who will break down, you know, all these issues so that they understand. We are going to do that as soon as possible. Yes.
Another huge challenge that poses us ahead of this election is the fact that with the introduction of 70 new seats, it means that now we've moved from 156 to 226.
226, yes.
The challenge over the years for opposition political parties like yourselves and others is that you have not managed to field in candidates across the country, especially also with councillors across the country. With the expansion, you know, in the numbers of members of parliament, do you foresee challenges in opposition political players filing, in this election?
These are some of the issues that we discussed with the ECZ and how that can be done. Because we are looking at maybe a Secretary General who is signing adoption papers. It's a challenge to be in all those places at one time. So I think the discussion, the engagement we had is how we can find a way in which all this filing, for example, is done at provincial or constituency level. I don't know. But these are things that we have been discussing also at ZCID and with ECZ. In fact, ZCID is going to engage the ECZ very, very soon. And I must say, Andrew, that any time we have requested for engagement meeting as ZCID board, we do get a meeting with the ECZ. It is an open door policy, like they said. We don't have challenges to get to engage ECZ. And that comes from the mandate of our members. Because you see, I am on the ZCID board as a chairperson for Forum for Political Parties outside Parliament. And you know that as we are going into elections, there possibly could be a new board structure. Yeah. But these are things that we have been engaging in. And when we have an opportunity, on our platforms, it's not only when we meet, but information is disseminated on the platforms. It's an interactive platform called ZCID Interactive Platform. So FPP platform and the ZCID platform, a lot of information also is disseminated. And I know that ECZ also has their own platform where they disseminate information. And if there's issues that come up, the political parties can come, our members can come to the Secretariat and say, can you please help us with this?
What is the position of the centre with regards to the nomination fees that have been set for the elections?
Like I said initially, is that they have been revised upwards, and we know that the last time when the stakeholders made some submissions, they were revised downwards. So this is what we are hoping is going to happen, because we know, like for members of parliament, for women, it's a challenge. Some of these prohibitive fees can stop them, can challenge them not to participate in elections. So we too are waiting, and we have said on our platform, we are going to engage ECZ. But ECZ said they were going to look at it, review, and come back to the political
Obviously,
party.
you have your own recommendations as a centre. And I would like to hear some of the recommendations that you have. In regards to the nomination fees, what is acceptable?
I think
from the
the previous nomination fees are not so bad. Because like for members of parliament, if female they had 13,500, they could pay. The 500 for at the lowest level, they could pay. So I think if we look at 2020, the 2016, if we had the same, maybe raising a bit. Of course, there are other schools of thought who believe that we must raise the presidential nomination fees upwards so that we can have, sanity at that level.
Would you agree with that school of thought? Especially
at
with
a personal level?
Especially with what transpired last week.
At a personal level, yes. And also, what transpired last week, it is concerning for Zambians, because they are saying, are these the type of opposition leaders that we have? But that was not the opposition leaders that came. We had serious opposition aspiring candidates who came to the meeting to engage ECZ and to receive information. So there was even
Are you saddened as a centre that what came out prominently are not the issues that were discussed, but were those...
No, but ECZ has resolutions. There were resolutions that came out of that meeting. And I think media, take an interest, and maybe the ZCID will deal with those resolutions. ECZ, on the ECZ platform, I'm sure, I saw something even in the papers.
Yeah, the resolutions. I'm saying, are you saddened as a centre? Because what came out so prominently is not the resolutions. What came out so prominently was that it was a bunch of...
This is for you who are in the media, social media, you can't stop them, because we want to have serious conversations. And obviously, the small glitches did not overshadow what we had. The serious issues.
Unfortunately, it did overshadow in the eyes of many Zambians, because what they were exposed to is what was on social media.
So, do you think for us as ZCID, that was not our takeaway? It wasn't our takeaway.
What was your biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway was that we were able to engage and get information about the candidates and what is required, and also the roadmap of ECZ towards the elections.
Are you happy with the roadmap so far? Are there any issues that you have with the roadmap?
Well, the roadmap, I think maybe some of the areas, there were the short spaces between this and that could pose as a challenge, but I think it was straightforward. Yeah.
Another big issue that has been discussed over the past few weeks has been the electoral process bill.
Yes.
Does the centre have any reservations in terms of some of the reforms that we are bringing up?
Well, I cannot speak to that, because I know that process is ongoing in Parliament, and it is now water under the bridge. All those conversations that we had were discussed, and I think the saddest thing is what we were hearing, for example, in the Constitution amendments and reviews and all these is the stakeholders who were supposed to raise pertinent issues were raising the process. And so I think the Zambians would have benefited had they come out and said, we don't like this, we don't like that. So we have had, Andrew, engagements with the political party presidents, and at the right time we'll be able to share with you what their positions were on those issues. Because we speak from consensus.
Isn't it a little bit too late? Because Parliament is dissolving in the next less than in the next 24 days.
Democracy is ongoing. It's a process.
You earlier spoke of the Council of Presidents, the Summit of Presidents.
Summit of Presidents. It's never too late. They say one day in politics is like a lifetime.
Are political parties talking to each other? Have you provided a platform where they can dialogue and speak to issues?
The dialogue, like I said, on the platform of ZCID, but face to face, the presidents, Council of Presidents, is what we have been working on. And like I said, we've had challenges because some presidents, we have not been able to meet them. And for us as a center, if we are going to represent everybody, we must speak to everybody, who at least the major players on the political arena.
What have been the challenges that the center has been facing in galvanizing support across political parties? Is it seen as a credible institution? Is this ZCID seen as a credible institution?
It is a credible institution. Otherwise, people would not be members if it wasn't. What people want is that ZCID should be speaking, be the spokespersons for political parties on issues. We speak once we have discussed and we've reached a consensus so that when we are making a statement, it is acceptable to all. You know, you don't want to say, when you haven't sat and have a consensus around, building consensus around issues, you know what will happen. You come out and say, no, this is the position. Some others will say, we were not consulted. Then it's like the factions. So we are very, very careful that we take everybody on board. Because we have the ruling party and the alliances and the opposition. So to put these people in one pot, it is a challenge.
Perhaps I should have asked this question from the start. How does the membership of ZCID look like so far?
You know, our members come, we draw our members from the registrar of societies, those political parties that are registered and with the registrar of societies, and they are in good standing.
With who?
With the registrar of societies, because some political parties have been deregistered. They do not comply.
Every political party automatically becomes a member of ZCID upon
when
registration.
They want, yes.
Or
when they
want.
Or
the subscription to ZCID.
There's a subscription.
So political parties pay too?
Yes.
How many have paid so far?
I don't have the figures.
Has the UPND paid to be part of ZCID?
Yes. I think that the members that have representation in Parliament have a higher subscription fee. UPND is part of the board, and they are part of ZCID, unlike the last time they were not. So all the members are part of the ones in Parliament and those outside Parliament. And we encourage our members to pay subscription fee. As you know, ZCID is a grant-aided institution under the Ministry of Justice. So we would have loved to have more members pay everything at one go. But you know, some members have challenges, but we encourage them to pay.
So technically you speak for members that are paid up members?
Yes, that are our members. Yes.
Does the center have a position over what has been discussed over the past few months, I think close to 2 years now, that opposition political players must unite, fielding one candidate that must go head-to-head against the ruling party, the UPND? Does the center have an opinion
No,
that?
we are not, like I said, we are not the what should I say, headmaster. Political parties are only affiliated. They are our members. What they do in their own internal political parties is not up to us. I know that the last strategic plan, there was a submission that perhaps we should not limit ZCID only to inter-party dialogue, but also intra-party dialogue, because that's not our mandate. We are not there to have the intra-party dialogue. So this is one area I think that everybody feels when we review that we must also include intra-party dialogue. And if we did that, perhaps that question would be relevant. Because we need to, we are bound by the deed, the trust deed. And so we can't just wake up one day and say, now we have to have intra-party dialogue. Yeah.
The hallmark of our democracy,
Yes.
especially on the part of you political players, is freedoms. Freedoms of speech
Yes.
and freedoms to associate. Do you feel as a centre that the 4 to 5 years of the UPND government, they've created an enabling environment for political parties to mobilize and to associate freely as and when they want?
It is not for ZCID to feel. Like I said,
you speak for political parties because part of the major complaint.
Yes, we speak for political parties. But Andrew, remember that we are also with the ruling party. And they are saying the freedoms have been opened up.
Yes,
the other side is saying
that you've been dragging them
yes, the other side is saying that. So I think that.
But you see these things happen. You see when political parties go to police to request that they should hold a public rally, they are denied.
If we have to speak on that issue, many times we have issued statements with regard to what is happening. If there is violence, if something like that has happened, normally you see a statement from ZCID. They will issue a statement on that particular issue. But day-to-day running, we cannot do that. Yeah, I think that the political parties themselves have been speaking. They've been speaking, and some of these things, like I said,
but are these issues
we
that
need
have been brought?
Dialogue. We need to speak to, we need to bring all the political parties together so they can speak. That is the role. Speak and raise these issues. I know there are some political parties that have actually written to us and say, please, can you organize this event? And we are doing that. We are doing that. And I don't think it's late, because now, look, even these meetings that we are having here, it's not too late. We are working towards that, because we need to have a platform where the political party presidents, including the Republican president, can come and talk, just like it happened in 1991. So this is the platform that we are looking at. And obviously we are looking also at how we can finance this particular event. But it's not something that we've thrown aside. We want to still be able to do that. Along the years, we've been talking about the public gatherings bill. Everything was done, and we were hoping that now it was launched at Legacy. But so many months later, we hear that no, it's still being looked at by the ministry that is responsible for that. Now, it becomes very difficult for us to speak on issues like that. We cannot.
Is it a matter of concern for you that
if those things are happening that they were
is gathering dust now?
Yes, of course it has to be of concern, but these are issues that we bring to the attention of the administration, because remember, Andrew, that they are also in the board. They are also, UPND is on the board, so they are represented on the board.
And what has been their position really?
I cannot start disclosing what we discuss.
But you must be disappointed.
I think, don't push this. I have told you that...
You political parties thrive on being free.
What is your you yourself, how have you looked at this issue?
Unfortunately, I'm asking questions to you.
No, I'm also asking because you are part of the media.
Well, my role today is to ask questions and for you to respond. But as we conclude,
yes,
Madam Senge, what is your call to action to the Electoral Commission of Zambia? Because they are mandated to administer these elections.
Yes,
and obviously,
yes.
all eyes, especially for you, the
Yes,
centre, are
yes.
on the commission.
No, we are just calling them to continue with the engagement, the openness, the fairness, so that, and the transparent process, so that people do not accuse them of rigging, helping to rig the elections. And that can only be done if you have a transparent process, which I think they have an opportunity to do, like they did. They call the political parties, they engage with them, and then make sure that the process is open. And they also have said, if any political party has issues, they are free to go and beat them.
Zambia Centre for Interparty Dialogue, Board Chairperson, Madam Joyce Msenge, thank you so much for making the time to speak with us on this day tonight.
Thank you so much. I think that we are all looking forward to a good, free and fair election without violence, that all political players can agree to the outcome. Because you know, you can have an election and people say, no, we don't agree to that. We are hopeful as Zambia Centre for Interparty Dialogue that for the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they are going to ensure that all the issues that the other political parties, the opposition are addressed before we go to the elections. It's important. Zambia has been known as a beacon of peace. Even the transfer of power is always smooth. So we are hopeful that even in August 2026, there will be an outcome that will be acceptable to all players.
Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.